way more intuitive, even just through OBS doing it on YouTube.
I'm sure.
Way more intuitive. There we go. Yep, we're using my YouTube channel with 9,000 subscribers. Or whatever, 8,600, something like that.
All right. Turn around and look at that extension cord.
Oh, you're a fucking gangster. Good shit.
Bro, this might be enough to make our dicks get hard here. I don't even think we're gonna have to cut these left and right. Other than the ones that fit in between.
Here we go. On YouTube.
I hope somebody heard me say that.
I hope so, but there's nobody. Well, maybe this stuff will work better because YouTube is more optimized. Oh, wow. Damn. Yeah, this is way better. Kick doesn't have anything like this. Holy shit, I can put the chat in the fucking top? Oh, wow. Alright, that's fucking good. Yeah, this is way better. Kick doesn't have anything. Sorry, Kick. But you can fuck right off. Now, if we were using my desktop, we could definitely do. We could stream to Kick, YouTube, X, all of them at the same time, but no way. Milo Yiannopoulos is on Candace Owens. You might not know who that is, but he was at the very beginning of everything. Gay white guy who just took the internet by storm before political shit went viral. He's a character. We need to watch the Asmongold video.
Look how much we have to cut.
Damn, that really does fit perfect, doesn't it?
Pretty close.
Good shit.
But we need to start on that side and cut them all down here because you won't even see it.
Where?
Over here. Behind the toilet and the vanity, you'll never see it.
Okay.
But it's not even going to look bad anyways because we're cutting off a half an inch. It's going to look like a full piece of tile pretty much.
Sounds good. Dude, where the fuck is this? There we go. Now please work. Crying out loud.
Has it occurred to you,
You
that,
know how
and
these,
I just want to say, I haven't watched a lot of Nick Fuentes in my life at all. But
I
when
haven't
I've seen
used
it,
these.
He's very talented. Like, just as
they sit like that, and then it comes with one that goes down through the top.
Say this,
and you
as
crank
someone
it
who's
together,
talked to
and it's like a
cameras his
zip
whole
tie.
life, it is
just
very hard.
And it holds these two
just
level together.
Riff for 20 minutes. And I
then
think
the
it's an
next
amazing
day
skill,
when you're
and
done,
he has
you
that
just
skill.
walk up and either kick it with your foot or hit it with a hammer, and it breaks off underneath.
Oh, wow.
Targets are
dude, I think that there is something seriously wrong with my brain.
Opponents of neocon politics.
Holy fuck.
So you have to kind of wonder about
maybe because he doesn't like neocon politics.
Why was it?
So Nick Fuentes is like, oh, I don't like the neocons, but then his targets are J.D. Vance, Joe Kent. He got involved in Joe Kent's campaign with a super. Oh yes, you, me, and it's like.
So
what is that?
Dave Smith.
Connected.
And I asked him about that because that's a question that I had. So I did the right thing by asking him to his face.
There we go. Wow.
with this? Like, why do you attack Dave Smith? You say that like your biggest critique is that America's being controlled by Israel. Then you have Dave Smith, who's been such a sound voice. And by the way, opposite experience with Dave Smith. I have my podcast. He's a fantastic human being. I judge
Dave
people.
Smith is one of the nicest people
Fantastic
ever.
human.
Yes.
And so I judge people according to my experiences with them. And so Nick is being judged according to my experience with him. And
but like, what is this?
I don't get
Where
it.
does
I don't
the funding
understand
come
it.
from? I probably shouldn't even say this, but the only reason I know who he is because someone sent me a video.
Somebody thinks that Nick is getting funded by somebody else. Nick can't even make a fucking bank account.
Follow this.
You don't need a lot of funding to just get a
That's pretty
background
close.
and talk to a camera.
107.
Like, you don't need a lot. How much did this fucking cost? Because if it was more than $1,000, you got to talk to somebody about that. Yeah, I mean, you don't need to get funded in order to just have a because he had this studio in his house. That's how whenever that crazy person showed up to his house to kill him, it interrupted his stream. That's the whole reason.
A few years ago of him attacking me, and I was like, so I'm looking at this, and I'm like, well, first of all, this kid's really talented, like legit, and I can assess that just having done the job for so long. So I was like, wow, lots of talent, native talent, and he's attacking my dad as the CIA, his dad's in the CIA or whatever, and I'm like, well, that's no, untrue.
Just a touch.
My father dies, and I learned actually, was involved in that world. I was completely shocked by it. So no one has to believe me, but that's just a fact.
Right.
This was in March of this year.
Sure.
And I'm like, well, how the hell would this child from Chicago, my dad was 84 when he passed. Like, who does this guy know who my dad is? And like, he's in intelligence. How would he know that? And
wait, so that was his critique?
So he's trying to imply that Nick's a Fed? Is that it?
Because I didn't see it.
Yeah, someone just sent me this video and it was like, you can't believe anything Carlson says because his father was in the CIA and he's a CIA working on behalf of the CIA. Well, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious, and I actually feel emotional in my anger towards CIA. And I think that comes out on the air quite regularly.
Right.
And so the idea that I'm working for the CIA is like deranged.
Well, if it helps, he said I was
done. We streamed the last 2.5 days on Kick. We've migrated over to YouTube.
Funded by Russia now. Since the interview, he then did a thing and said I was funded by Russia.
Would be
so like he's accused. Like, this is the same as like it's kind of like he's said that about people before. I mean, like, yeah, it's the same as like me killing a boss and saying, oh, the mount's gonna drop this time. Eventually I'm right.
Okay.
A lot more likely to take Russian money than I would be to work for the CIA, because you would never take Russian money, and you're not Russian. But I mean, I really hate the CIA. And I mean, that's like very offensive to me. So why would you?
It's like personal for you.
Well, a little bit.
Yeah.
And anyway, like, who is this kid exactly?
107, 59 and a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's just an act.
What's half of 107?
50.
53 and a half.
50. No, yeah, 53 and a half.
Yeah. 106. Yeah. 53 and a half. Okay.
Hit the space bar away.
That the guy goes after exclusively, after people who are in the same, roughly the same. And then he gets up there and he's like, making Holocaust jokes. And it's like, is it possible that this is like David Duke? David Duke, every time I had a new show, David Duke would endorse my show. I don't know. Who the hell is David Duke? Well, David Duke is obviously part of a campaign to discredit people on the right.
I don't know whether what is the status on Tucker Carlson taking money from Qatar? Because I hear that a lot, but I hear a lot of stuff a lot. He hasn't, zero evidence? Okay, there's not. Okay, so people aren't really sure. I think that there's a lot of people that probably, once you reach a certain level of notoriety,
What's half of 59?
the value of your opinion is noticed by others. And sometimes that value is not communicated in a monetary amount. Sometimes it's communicated in opportunities. It's communicated like Tucker Carlson, super rich. Yeah, I think so. Like, isn't he married into the family of the Swanson fucking frozen food company, right? So like Tucker Carlson is like probably a fucking like he's gonna inherit billions of dollars at some point, right? And so like there's no reason for him to take money.
Yeah.
And I think it's very obvious that Nick Fuentes is exactly the same. Doesn't mean everything he says is false. It doesn't mean he's not talented. He's enormously talented. Doesn't mean he's a bad person. I'm not attacking him personally. But he is clearly part of a campaign to discredit non-crazy right voices.
You know,
that's obvious to me. I've been around a long time. I know it when I see it.
Yeah, and I will say I don't understand it. We were very kind to him. Like
I think that's not always. I mean, he's criticized tons of people. He's been on debates with plenty of people that are left wing also. I don't think this is an accurate summary of this. I think obviously, like, he's going to be looking at conservatives and talking more about them very clearly because he thinks that they're the ones that are kind of the gatekeepers of him. So he's going to be at odds with them more often. He debated Sam Crowder, yeah, but he also debated Dean Withers. He's talked with a bunch of people.
Truly, like, we almost said, like, we felt maybe he was a bit lonely. We should invite him back for dinner. I mean, that's how good of an experience I had.
Clearly.
And then it was a 180. So it's either A, it's being driven from like a little boy insecurity, and he just was so worried that he just went on the attack because he doesn't know how to have normal relations after being banned everywhere.
Well, I think there's that
could be one element.
The angry gay kid thing going on. Yeah.
Or it's
the angry gay kid thing.
I'm gonna lay him out vertically and see, because it says mathematically.
He's just a mad little gay boy.
And I think
damn, bro, is that where we at? Shit.
Could be one element.
The angry gay kid thing going on.
Or it's what you're saying, where he does this, he's lying to everybody and pretending that things are one way when it's not. I can say
why is he attacking Joe Kent, who, I mean, Joe Kent worked as a CIA contractor, paramilitary contractor. He's in the U.S. military for years, fighting our neocon wars. His wife was killed in Syria in one of those wars. Joe Kent is the single most sincere critic, and I would say the one with the most credibility in the United States to say this foreign policy is bad. It killed my wife. I was a part of it. Joe Kent is actually someone the CIA doesn't like at all because he understands how it operates. And for Nick Fuentes, who's like some child from Chicago, who, I mean, to go after him specifically, one congressional seat in Washington State.
That's random.
It's not random, though. It's the opposite of random. Joe.
So Tucker Carlson thinks that he's bought and paid for, and it's all a fucking conspiracy. And Nick Fuentes is like a paid plant that is put there in order to discredit neoconservatism and make them more radicalized. That's what he's saying. Yeah, exactly, guys. I read that on the back of the dollar bill. It's the triangle.
Kent was number one on the list of people they wanted to knock off, people who believe in our neocon foreign policy. They wanted Joe Kent out because he could stand up and say, I actually know. I've got the receipts. My wife was killed in Syria.
I can go mix the mortar.
Tucker's trying to say,
or do you want to dry fit all of them?
Israel last year, and I sacrificed, and I was targeted by the ADL, by the SPLC, by the federal government, by the conservative movement that both Candace and Tucker were a part of. Candace and Tucker had nothing to say about Israel until it became unavoidable last year. Not popular, but unavoidable. And now they want to gatekeep me out and do this personality attack and say I'm a bitter loser in my basement from Chicago. I'm a kid from Chicago. And they slipped up there because they forgot for 1 second that they're pretending to be the spokesperson for exactly that kind of person. Tucker's mask slipped, and he forgot for a minute that for 8 years he's been pretending to care about the plight of weird kids in their parents' basement who are broke and didn't go to an Ivy League school, living in cities that don't matter like Chicago, not like Washington, D.C. or L.A. or New York.
I think Nick is right about this, by the way. He is. And the fact is that there's a lot of guys out there, and this is where you're seeing a lot of this online resurgence and a lot of this online right-wing tilt. I think it's primarily from disaffected young men.
6
primarily.
times.
And you see this constantly. This is why if you look at demographics, like if I can just pull this up real quick,
7 times.
support for
Each row is
Trump,
going to be
Gen Z by
each row is
gender.
going to be 30.
So if I can just show you real
Times
quick
5,
what this
25
image is here.
times.
If I can find this, Trump support among young men very surprisingly. Where's the new one here? A significant gender divide
13,
among Gen
14,
Z
let's say
voters. Now,
14
this is
rows
obviously a
times
later one.
25.
A lot more men. Look at that.
Yeah, we're going to need one more
40%
bag.
of men support Trump versus 26% of women.
Yeah,
This
there's
is a
going to be
massive
14
gender
rows
divide.
of these, give or take, and each one
A
needs
gigantic
6.
gender divide. Like, it's almost double.
We're going to subtract.
And so, really,
say 2,
I think that
because-
definitely there are
well, no,
that
we
is,
said
that are
subtract
those are
3
the people that are
because
consuming this content.
one tile's going to use
It is
3
young
from the
guys
other.
that have been disaffected, disenfranchised, and they feel like the country no longer puts their interests
14
first.
rows
They
times.
feel like the country puts the interests of Israel first. They feel like the country
4.
puts the interests of immigrants first. They feel like the country puts the interests of women first. And that's not even necessarily a bad thing. But whenever you have opportunities where, you know, you
4
want to go to
per-
college,
well, no,
you
sorry,
have
it'd be-
equality.
it'd
Well,
be
if you have
14
equality, then why are
rows
women getting
times.
preferential treatment? The biggest beneficiaries of DEI aren't black people, it's white women. That's right. And companies
20.
first, exactly. So these are the reasons why I think that, yes,
So
a lot of the guys that I think
one
that
more
watch
bag,
Nick
maybe 1.5.
are disaffected young guys around his age that probably
200.
feel the exact same way. I don't think it's all American. I think there's a lot of Europeans there too, but it's very common.
And that's why he had such disdain and contempt for me in
We
that
dry
moment.
fit and all this stuff?
Between the personality attacks, he's lonely, he's weird, he lives in a basement. I'm sorry, did you guys forget that that's your target audience that you're trying to pander to?
I'm glad he
Well,
just
if we got
admits it.
that tool that we're going to
Yes,
use,
a lot of the people, this is the same thing I said with the relationship content.
we don't need to
Is
dry
that
fit it all because we
a
can
lot
cut
of the
it
people that
as
I
we
know
go.
that are happily married and they have
How
kids and
quick
they have
is
no
that thing cut 'em?
problems, do you know what they're doing? Not posting on the internet about it. They're not going out and giving relationship advice and talking about how all women are whores or
So
how
we
they're
should go
not
ahead and mix
whores.
half of
They're not
that.
talking or thinking about it
Start
at all.
laying 'em.
They're out there with their wife taking
we
care of
run
their
out.
kids.
It-
So you have a
cuts it quick,
selection
and we can
bias
just
here that happens
lay
where
them and then
a
cut the
lot of
next
the
one
people,
and lay, because we're not going to have to really cut many.
when Ethan did
The way
those
it fits.
subpoenas, how is it
You know,
that every single person that got their
they
information
almost fit
leaked
perfect.
was
So we're
in
just
their
going to have to cut
30s,
one.
unemployed, and living with their parents? That's crazy.
See, well, no, each row, this row we're going to have to cut.
Wow.
2. Then 1.
Dog walkers, yeah, a lot of coincidences. Yeah, those are the people that are consuming this content. Absolutely. And the reason why is because a lot of the people that are disaffected,
we're just
angry,
we'll
and
cut
in their
1,
basement, the reason why
2,
that they're
1,
watching these
2.
videos is because they're
We'll lay
there in
this
the
shit.
first place. If they had a successful job, if they were happy, if society treated them in a way that they thought were
Pretty
fair,
well.
or they had outcomes that they thought were preferential, then they wouldn't
Should
be
be
there
able to do that.
consuming the content to begin with. That's what's going on. And this is, again, this isn't something that's unique to Nick. This is something that's true with all political commentary. Because most political commentary on the internet starts with a grievance, and then it basically is saying that you have this problem in your life because of this system. And in some cases, they're right. But at the end of the day, it attracts a lot of people that have problems and that are looking for ways to find out why that problem is happening in their life. That's it.
Did you forget that for 2 seconds? And I'm the inauthentic person? I am that person. I am a spokesman for the disaffected white man because I am one, and you two are not. Candace Owens got married to British royalty worth $200 million after meeting him for 2 weeks on Zoom. What the fuck is even that about?
Well, That's because
And
this
Tucker
isn't
Carlson's dad
putting any
ran the
pressure
CIA's
against it.
propaganda empire fighting the Soviet Union. He went and fought with the Contras when he was in college. When I was in college, I was doing a webcam show in my friend's dorm room criticizing Israel. So who's the CIA cutout? Who's the inauthentic one? Who's the crazy, hateful one? I would never describe a well-meaning young white person who's trying to get ahead as a weird kid in his basement from Chicago. And what is that supposed to mean? What is wrong with being from Chicago? What is...
I think that there's also a component to it as well, and this is true with any media personality, is that a lot of media personalities try to downplay each other because of market share. They don't want to see up-and-comers, get attention over them. They don't want to see people get any degree of notoriety in a way that they don't have or in a way that they can't achieve. And so when they see somebody doing well or succeeding, they oftentimes try to make fun of them and laugh at them or make them look bad. I think another parallel to this is, remember all of the Twitch-centric streamers that were dogging on and making fun of Aiden Ross in like 2021? And like everybody was joking around, like, oh, this guy's an idiot, he's a loser, like he's dumb, etc. Like it's very common. And again, the reason why is gatekeeping. I think that there's a tremendous amount of gatekeeping in media, and also that explains the friendly fire. Because people, like, I'm not, like, theoretically, like, a lot of people that watch me aren't going to go and watch somebody like fucking Mike from PA or Hassan.
Oh, you want to see this?
Because we just have different viewpoints and we talk about things differently. They're going to watch somebody who has similar viewpoints to mine, but they differ slightly. So really, if you look at it from a self-preservationist point of view, it would make sense why they would attack each other that are inside of the same sphere. Do you see what I'm saying here?
Wrong with being weird? What is wrong with living in your basement? That's a lot of people because of the problems you claim to care about.
Yeah.
Tucker's at Turning Point USA extolling the predatory nature of usury and how it's preventing young white men from getting homes. And then the week after says, you're in your mom's basement. So which is it? So which is it? Do you care about Klarna and people going into debt to order pizzas and home ownership being impossible?
It's actually crazy. People are ordering DoorDash on credit now. They're ordering DoorDash on payment plans. It's really, really bad. I don't see Nick cooking even remotely here. He's acting if he doesn't say anything inflammatory. He isn't antagonizing this kind of response. It's very disingenuous. Well, I'll give my opinion to it at the end.
Through Klarna.
Or do you think that's a contemptible, low-status thing to be ridiculed and mocked?
I think that what Nick is really saying here is that Tucker Carlson, his primary audience, and a lot of the people that he's representing are young, disaffected men. But when he attacks Nick as basically, he attacks Nick with characteristics of young, disaffected men, it effectively reveals that he doesn't really care about them in the first place. I think that's what Nick is trying to say.
Pandering here, exactly.
It's a class issue.
Wasn't you.
Yes, it's a class issue, unironically.
You were born to the Swanson family fortune, and your daddy who ran the CIA. You know, my dad didn't even graduate college. My dad worked for the tollway. His dad died of a drug overdose in the 70s. My mother's father was a garbage man in Chicago, and he committed suicide. He was a veteran of World War II. Who's the CIA cutout? Who's the poser? Who is America?
This is about...
I am America. Chicago is America. That's an American story. I didn't go to Yale Law School and suck Peter Thiel's dick and then get a sinecure at a venture capital firm advising Rebecca Mercer and writing Hillbilly Elegy and talking about it at the Aspen Institute. That's your biographical credibility? How many of these disaffected white people that love Trump because he's racist went to Yale Law School and got plucked out by Peter Thiel, whoever he even is? Peter Thiel with his fixation with the Antichrist. This homosexual who's
Because then
involved
it's
with
going
the
to be,
CIA,
they'll all be, we'll know exactly
who
how to
wants
cut
to
it.
live forever and
versus
govern the
just
world
cut
with
'em.
AI. Yeah,
When you
that's
start
really
from the middle and then cut
relatable.
'em,
That's
when we get
really
there.
relatable. Do
You
another
can
show
lay
with
that
him and
side, I'll
Curtis
lay this
Yarvin.
side.
To
When
be
you
fair,
cut 'em.
I think Peter Thiel's great. He
Simultaneously.
names all of his country or all of his companies after Lord of the Rings stuff. He funded that lawsuit to kill Gawker. Like, yeah, I think he's great.
What, yours
You know,
was
funded
8?
Palantir,
So we
etc.
could do 6
And the
and
Senate, yeah, he's crashing. No, he's
half,
pissed off,
6
right?
and a
He
quarter.
is. He's mad. And I'll let me finish. I'll let it finish.
Do another show. Do the 47th show with JD Vance.
We can just measure.
It is
Well, that would-
insulting, and it is insulting to everybody's intelligence for Tucker to sit there and say he doesn't know his dad is in the.
I think that Nick is also mask offing right now that a lot of these different identity struggles are actually class struggles in disguise. And you
So
can
the
probably
center of
notice
this-
that right now with like what Nick is saying is that Tucker Carlson is criticizing Nick for things and attributes that are held by not people that are white, black, or anything. They're held by people that are poor without resources. And I think that's what's really radicalized a lot of people
give or
like
take,
Nick,
the center right
and
here is
also a lot of people that are on the
52.5.
left wing too. They've been radicalized by these
That'd be
social
54.
issues and these identity
54 would be
issues,
what we need
but
to
the
make the
majority
center
of
of
these
this one.
identity issues
Move
are
it up an
actually
inch and a half.
class issues
And
at
we'll both
heart,
be at 6
and
and a
you
half.
see that by the way that they insult
6 and
each
a half
other.
inch.
Because why would you insult a person based off of something that you don't care about and you don't think that they care about? So it's like, why would you do that? Well, obviously it's because either
Just
they
mark
care
on the
about it or
floor.
you think that, you know, the other person
54.
cares about it. That's it.
CIA
That would be our
for him to
center.
say that I'm in the CIA? What a joke. What a sick joke.
Decide so we can see it.
Especially after everything that's happened to me. And unlike what Candace Owens says, she says, what happened to him when he was 18?
Down an inch and a half.
What happened to me is
And we just line
ongoing.
that outside edge up with it.
Okay? Unlike Candace Owens and Tucker,
Yeah,
I never
yeah,
got a
no,
contract
yeah.
with Ben
Make the
Shapiro and
center
Rupert
mark, we'll be able to
Murdoch.
see it.
I was
Yeah,
on
no, that's
Maker
fine.
Support. I was on Patreon. I was on D Live.
Patreon, by the way, little fun fact, little
What did you move it?
lore
3
connection here.
inches. from his-
Patreon
you move
also
another
was
inch and a half from the
debanked,
center,
and they had
which
the
was
same
54.
problems. Dick Masterson talked about that. I think he tweeted at me about it, and they had the exact same issues. So the same problems that these video game
Yeah,
companies
that
are
was
running
what I was
into
measuring for.
are the same problems
54 would
that
be
I
the
think that
distance
you know
from the tub,
he
and
had for a
hopefully the
long
distance
time.
from there,
Dick Masterson, no,
which
that's
is
his,
an
that.
inch
Well, I
and
don't
a
know if
half
that's his
away
real
from the
name,
center of this
but
tile.
that's what he uses on the internet. Okay,
So it'd really be
it's
53
fucked.
and a
yeah.
half, which is the center
Why is he
point
so
of the
mad?
area.
Let me.
doesn't
He's
look
almost
I
done.
had to fight for everything I have. I
That
didn't get a $1
is,
million
yeah, that is.
contract from Turning Point.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
get
yeah,
$20
yeah.
million
53 and a half.
from Fox News.
Yeah, yeah,
My
yeah.
daddy didn't get me a job in Arkansas.
Yeah. So mark that too. Might as well. So we got a reference.
So
point, 53 and a
ridiculous.
half.
So I think that the reason why Nick is mad is that Nick
And
views
just write
Tucker
it on there.
Carlson and Candace Owens as people that are effectively reinforcing the class dynamic. And I think that's part of it, right? Is that effectively these are people who have had every opportunity in the world, and now they're looking down and making fun of him because he hasn't had every opportunity in the world. And I think that what he's saying is that reveals the fact that this actually isn't about, you know, helping young people or anything like that. It's about maintaining a
Write down
class
53 and a
dynamic.
half
It's a
too, so
betrayal,
we
right? It's a
don't
direct
forget it.
betrayal of the disaffected people that they're trying to represent and that they say that they represent.
There we go.
And I think
right,
also
we're
Nick,
ready to
I mean,
fucking
Nick
go.
has been, he's been kicked off of everything. He was banned on Twitter
disputed.
forever. And so, like, really for him, whenever it's like two people that are very noteworthy,
Well,
media,
I don't know if we
that
even
are
need to
trying
worry about
discredit
measuring
him
that.
again, obviously he's going to get
This is
super
going to be our
defensive
guide.
because he's been
Or, well,
discredited. He's
that's
been
going to be our
deplatformed,
guide.
He's been kicked
So once
off
we get
different
it set
things. And
in
so
the
when
center,
he sees people that are
we
kind
build
of
it
getting
out, we
together
cut
and
our
joking
first
around
one.
about
Oh, we
doing
can-
it again,
this one
he's
where it's
obviously going to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
defensive. That's
Right.
really what it is.
we can just
And I feel
put our
like,
tiles
again,
here
you would have never had
and get
this
it to the
situation
wall,
if
and
you
then
just
whatever our
simply
cut
listened
needs
to
to
what
be, we
people's
cut that, and
perspectives
then
are.
we have
Why
a
was he
guide.
deplatformed? I don't remember
Instead of-
exactly why it
Because
was.
we
It
can
was
measure
years
it,
ago.
but
But we,
And so
we
that's
want
basically
the
what's
cut
going
rows
on.
to
As
be
you
over
should,
there.
just follow the
So
TOS. Is that
yeah,
hard?
yeah, that's a good idea.
I think, in
So
my
we just need to
opinion, the
move it
terms of
over a half
service
inch.
should be just simply the law.
Yeah.
And like if a company wants to have
we
that,
should
then
lay
obviously
'em
they can
out
do
first,
that.
because
But it's very
who the
obvious
fuck
that
knows?
people like
Oh,
Nick
yeah,
were
this
banned
wall
because
would
they had
be-
a certain political
Well,
viewpoint.
just these.
And
Just
now that,
the
you know, I
center.
think anybody can be on Twitter, crazy leftists and crazy right-wing people, you're not seeing that same problem manifest itself. So I think that really what you're looking at here is that it is a, like, I don't care about the TOS, but if you want me to care about it, you have to apply it evenly to everybody. So that's it, being critical of Israel. Yes, and Israel exercises a tremendous amount of power. They do.
Okay,
And
so we're
I think
pulling
that
them all up
it's
except this
insane
one.
to me that
Vote it
Israel
where
has
it
its
needs to be,
own
and then you wanna draft
political
it
action
left
committee
and right
here
to
in
the wall.
America.
Mhm.
It's insane that we have people,
Yeah.
like, people stood up and clapped at the last
Yeah,
Netanyahu
we'll
speech in America.
make our
They
line
stood up and
on
clapped
that
more
one,
for that
and
than they
then
did for
we'll
the State
cut
of
it,
the
and then
Union.
we'll go.
This is an unhealthy overreach, and any reasonable person can see that. It's not anti-Semitic to say that. It's not against Jews to say that. It's about a country, not a group of individuals. That's the problem. And so,
So doing that's gonna
true?
keep
No,
us
ban
from
incoming?
running
No, absolutely not. Don't you know that, you know, like,
we know that
that
we
not
have
on
this one?
Twitch, maybe somewhere else. And so, yeah, we don't control the world, deletes your accounts and debanks you. Yeah, clearly, right? And so I think that's the reason why Nick got super defensive about it.
Well,
I mean, again, I think if Tucker Carlson
if we
wants to
set
assume
this
or
up-
like accuse Nick of being, you know, like, and it's a little bit of kind of like you're kind of saying
if we've
both
got the
things,
center
right?
of the room,
If he's being funded by these external sources, then why is he
here's
doing
what
it
I
from
would
his
say.
basement?
if we've got the center of the room,
If he has
right here,
these
which we've got,
external abilities to, like, you know,
we
be
run our
successful,
tile,
and there's some sort of
make it
shadow
flush
that's, like, you know,
here,
controlling him in the back, then
and
why
anything
is
that
he doing it in his
deviates
basement?
from
So, like,
a
you're
straight line on the
saying that
wall
he has
will
no
be followed,
status, but you're
because
also
each
saying
tile
that
that we
he's
lay that
being
has to be
used by
cut
people
will be
with
cut
status.
with the wall.
It doesn't, like, you're
It won't all be
which one is it? He's definitely not unpopular.
cattywampus.
Yeah, exactly.
We just
because
cut
it's
it
effective.
as we go.
I don't really think that it necessarily is or isn't.
I don't know.
I don't
Other than
like
that,
if Nick
we're
Fuentes
gonna
was in
be
like a big
trying to
studio. I
figure
don't
out
think that would really affect things.
quantum mechanics as we go. I just don't know if there's another way for us to do it.
There's gotta be a way to use this nicer that helps us.
I don't know, man.
Are we good?
Maybe if we were using normal tile, I don't know.
Is we good? We had a little bit of a hiccup, a little bit
Let
of
me
a
get this in the
situation. You
center.
know, I know what's really, really funny about that? Not a single person on Kick had that problem. It's only Twitch that has these problems. It is insane the amount of issues that Twitch has with their service. It is so fucking annoying to me. APAC is jamming you? Yeah, definitely. And sure. And suspicious as soon as you started speaking about Israel? Yeah, right.
And if
Exactly.
we get it flush up against
And
the wall,
anyway,
it'll
so that's really
straighten
kind of the
itself
way that
out.
I feel about it. I think in general, Nick is definitely right about one thing, that the primary consuming audience of people that the primary consuming audience of alt-right or right-wing viewpoints on the internet from people like Nick Fuentes or Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens, the primary audience are disaffected young men.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Well,
it.
we need to, if we're going to
And
cut
so
that
if you're
side,
Tucker Carlson and you're joking
we
around
need to-
making fun of them, I think
we're
that you
gonna have
did
to,
you have misunderstood your audience.
we'll
That's
just sit it
definitely
over
what's
top of
going
that.
on. Yeah, Twitch doesn't like a certain topic. No, I don't think
Alright,
that's what it
what's the
was. As
distance
funny as it
from
would
wall to
be,
wall?
I don't think that's really what's happening. And it's not that big of a fucking deal. And what is this here? Let me go back. I'll see if I can find a few more of these here. The fuck is this?
yeah, 59 and a quarter.
Okay.
So,
anyway.
that was the measurement.
Yeah, clip that someone. Yeah,
was-
definitely. They call the anti-Semitic,
what
not
was
a
it?
liar. I mean, again, like I don't think anybody's really calling me anti-Semitic. It's weird, as I said earlier.
24
Right?
and-
People are in. There's a perpetual argument about whether I am a Jew or a Nazi,
A third.
and I think that nobody really knows. There's still arguments about that, and people
No.
still aren't sure which one it is. It's very
24.6.
annoying, but that's pretty much what's happening. And let me
That
go
would need to
back.
be
I'll
the
see if I can
center
find a few
of
more of
our
these here. But
first tile.
where the fuck did it go?
If we go
And,
right in the middle,
I'll see
so
if I
we
can
got
pull
our,
this one up in a minute.
this way we got our middle.
Yeah, there it is. Your
We need to
base.
get our middle
I
here
just
too,
try. Listen, here's what I try to do.
We
I
put
try
the
to be
center of the
fair.
tile there, and then we're good.
I try to be fair.
your-
I try to understand
what's the
things, and I
exact
try to
point
get a
of
good idea of what's happening and what's not happening.
Release it.
That's all. That's the only thing I try to do. And I know that there's a lot of people that might not like that, or they might want me to talk about it in a certain way. But I feel like over time, this has happened many, many times, I have continued to be consistent. I have continued to be consistent about things, and people get mad about it. But at the end of the day, I don't really think it matters that much. Like, let's be honest. But you stick up for Zoomer incels. I stick up for people that I think are being mistreated and people that are being misrepresented. I think that's what I do more than anything. Obviously, whether it's Zoomer, incels, or anything else, I don't really care. The only thing that I care about is making sure that, you know, people get a fair shake more than anything, right? Roach Defender? Yeah, definitely. And I've been called gay, choose honesty. Yeah, I've been called everything. I mean, let's be honest, right? Everybody has all kinds of these like weird, crazy opinions about me. And that's what happens, right? Like, I'm not worried about that. I'm not mad about that. It doesn't upset me that it's happening. It's just simply the way it is. Yeah, that's all there is to it. You know, you're fair and neutral if everybody claims that you're attacking either side. Yeah, and I think that's the reason why I cover a lot of the like controversial topics, controversial people, because I think that if I don't cover it in a fair way, nobody will cover it in a fair way. And that's what's continued to happen more and more.
Got our center point
Yeah,
there.
if I don't have both sides attacking me, then I'm probably doing something wrong. I think that's generally the way that I look at it. It sounds crazy, but that's where I'm at.
This would be 59 and 5. Well, yeah, 59 and 5/8.
I thought we made it 59 and a quarter.
Mm.
That's what we measured down there and over there.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Just got to divide it in half.
If it's off a little bit on the edges, I mean, it's going to be covered by trim.
All right, guys, before we get into the podcast, make sure you download the Prize Picks app right now. Football is almost back. Probably one of the most exciting times for me to do any picks. So if you guys want to get in on it, download the Prize Picks app right now in the App Store. Put in code Bradley on your first $5 lineup. They'll give you $50 for free. Go to the App Store right now, download the Prize Picks app, put in code Bradley when you sign up. Again, $5 first lineup, you get $50 for free. Let's get into this podcast.
Here, if you lift it up, I can sit this down in the very center. Word.
Why don't you just hold the measuring tape over?
It's funny because I've seen other interviews with you, and it's always just like the notorious, you know, the most controversial. But yeah, Nick Fuentes, man. I've seen a lot of your stuff. I've you know, I heard about you through, you know, obviously the internet. People watch this guy's stuff, seen some stuff. Some stuff I'm like going kind of far. Understandable in some cases. Some cases I'm like, doesn't need to be said. But regardless, you definitely seem to have a really strong voice in this entire like political space, commentating. I believe you have a very successful show.
Thank you.
That's going with it.
What is it like being almost seems like enemy number one to the government?
It's tough. It's weird because I feel like I do a talk show.
Yeah.
So in a way, I don't do exactly the same thing as you, but ultimately I do videos. I live stream myself giving speeches about politics, and I've been on the no-fly list. I've had my bank accounts frozen. I've had people try to kill me at my house. So I've sort of accepted it. It's normal for me. I've been doing it for 10 years.
I'm just saying.
Some days I wake up and I'm like, I feel like a terrorist, but I do a talk show, you know, or at least that's how I'm treated. So, but it's like anything, you get acclimated to it, you get used to it.
Where did it start for you? Because I from what I understand, early on in your career, you started questioning. I think were you working with the Daily Wire?
No, I almost was.
You almost were.
They almost brought me.
And you started asking questions about the Israel lobby,
right?
And that was like, what? How many years ago?
That was in 2017. So that was 8 years ago.
And after that, it was just like it was downhill from there, as far as like you being able to do all this stuff.
That's dead center.
Backlash.
Yes. Yeah, there were kind of two things that were happening at that time.
I've got knee pads on.
I was in college. I was at Boston University. And the thing that people don't realize is that's where they groom all the conservative influencers. So Turning Point, all the different campus groups, they're looking for like the young, best and brightest conservative people. And when they get into those groups, they then start their career towards being a Fox News host or being a Daily Wire host or something like that. And I was very much in that pipeline. I was very much on that trajectory to being like a conservative pundit, at least at the very early stages.
That's pretty good.
And they basically realized early on in the beginning of 2017 that I was not going with the program on that one issue on Israel. It wasn't even anything else, but I just insisted that it was not consistent with what everyone else was saying. You know, Trump in the inaugural said it's America first. And I said, well, there's one country that seems to be the exception there. And I would never let that go. And so one track is that I was being actively canceled and blacklisted by the conservatives. And so that actually happened first because I wasn't really known. I was just an 18-year-old kid. I had 1,000 followers on Twitter. I was getting 100 live viewers on my show. I really had no big following.
Close to where those lines are.
People were moving behind the scenes. It was like a whisper campaign saying, don't hire this guy. Don't bring him on your podcast. This guy's bad.
And how did
news.
you know that?
I was being told that by people who are sympathetic.
And I'm sorry to interrupt.
Listen, if we've got it center with the room,
even if it was the
width and lengthwise,
we
should be fine.
I'm sure. Absolutely.
What do you mean?
Okay.
Because, you know, in both sides, you do have this kind of censorship. You do have control that emanates from the center.
Yeah.
So I think even more so on the left. People are surprised that it happens on the right.
Where we're at.
Because we say that the right is the free marketplace of ideas.
Yeah.
And you can express yourself and be politically incorrect, but that's only up to a certain point, up to a limit. So I was getting canceled. The first big thing is
if we get we've got it center with the room.
Reform, which is like a student-run group. They would report on the left-wing outrage on the campus. Those guys were coming after me. The Daily Wire crowd was coming after me, bad-mouthing me on Twitter, behind the scenes. I got banned from CPAC, which is the big conservative convention.
Right.
And so one track is that in the industry, I was just blacklisted from the start, throttling my career from the rip. But then the second track, the kind of second thing that's happening is that then you have the social media censorship, which is ramping up.
Yeah.
So after Trump wins the election, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, they all gradually, incrementally start cracking down. And between those two things, it was like a pincer. I could get no opportunities, no platforms, no jobs, no interviews, no institutional support from the conservatives. At the same time, I couldn't make my own career because I got banned on PayPal, YouTube, ultimately then Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and they just kind of cascaded one after the other. And
what
so
was that like? They're sending
glad
you
I
emails,
checked. This
or like
thing's
you're
got
just trying
one
to post and it's like your account's
bar.
gone?
Don't you think?
Do what?
We might have to stop.
No, I'm gonna mix half.
It was dreadful because you would wake up literally one day.
Yeah, that's probably a good point.
On your app, like as you know you do, you go on Twitter, whatever, and then you're done, you're gone. You would wake up, you try to open up your account, and you would be signed off automatically. You try to sign back in. Oh, there's an error. You check your email, and they'd send you an email. Your account has been permanently suspended, and most of the time they don't even give you a reason.
Yeah.
They just say violations of our TOS.
Seth, did we leave that picture down there?
They don't tell you anything, and so you're just waiting
Did we
for
leave
that
that
other shoe
picture
to
down
drop
there?
every day.
Yeah.
And it's not even just the social platforms, but banks,
Yeah, put the water in.
airlines, Airbnb, even obscure things.
What is banks like? They're just like, hey, you got to get your money out of the account. Your account's closed.
Yep. You get a letter in the mail, and they'd say we've made the decision to close your checking
There's a little
account.
bit in the bottom.
They say because of reputation.
I would turn it upside down and
That's
just
the
hit
excuse
it
they use.
very gently.
And they'll call you
I
on the
cracked the
phone and
bottom
say
of the
you
other
have
one,
90
it hit
days
too
to move
hard.
all your money out of the
It should
account.
come out though.
Wow. Okay, so but before all this stuff happened, before you even really got into politics, like how did you find your way
traced that
there?
one,
Why
didn't
did you
you?
find your way there?
Well, I was precocious. You know, when I was like 12 years old, I was really into politics, but I was reading what was available in the mainstream.
I'm gonna
You know,
sabotage
back when
it.
I was 12 or 13, this had to be back in 2012, right around there. There wasn't a lot of online
sweetie?
content on social media from conservatives. They were a little late to the
Come and
party.
get him.
And so what you had was Breitbart, Prager University.
Right.
They didn't call it Daily Wire. Back then they called it PJ Media. That was Ben Shapiro's outfit. And so I just downloaded all that stuff. And I was a big like libertarian, neocon, actually. I was a big supporter of Israel, believe it or not.
Don't do that.
Because that's just what there was. If you were a conservative and you were
What
looking
is
for
it?
viral conservative content on YouTube, it was
Yeah,
all pro-Israel, pro-free market.
I would do
this
whatever
kind of
you
stuff.
think we could lay
You
like
weren't a gamer at all? You weren't playing video games at that age?
2 or 3
I was
rows.
a gamer, but I wasn't. I was really more a
And
political
then we're gonna have
nerd.
to
I was
stop and
like a
eat, and then
big
we can
geek.
carry on after
That was like your first love.
I mean, we're
Yes,
definitely not gonna get this
absolutely.
whole
Man,
thing
it's
stuck
crazy.
tonight.
At that age,
But
it's
we
nuts. 'Cause I
might
was
be able
just
to get like
playing
halfway.
Halo. Like, I'm be honest with you. Again, a different generation.
Mhm.
I think I'm 10 years older, so I mean, I was into Halo. I just figured like
Yeah,
maybe you would have been on COD.
But
or
then you
something.
think
Yeah,
about
I
we
mean, I
also
played-
have to make
I did a little video
a
games, but I
circular
wasn't
cut
good at
around the
them.
toilet.
You know, I was
and
always
stuff
just more
like
of a
that.
nerd when it came to the politics.
Yeah.
So,
That's crazy, man. So because
but
what I
I mean,
find
we'll
interesting about
do
you,
our
like, 'cause I've
best.
seen your show a few
We won't
times.
kill ourselves. We have
You
tomorrow.
do everything sort of
We can't
off
do
the
the
cuff,
shower
like off
until
the dome.
Thursday at the
Where are you
earliest.
actually getting your information? Like, how are you digesting all this and retaining this?
Well, I get it from everywhere. You know, I honestly I just read the New York Times
Oh,
every day,
yeah.
and I know people will be surprised to hear that, but every day I just read
What?
everything in the New York Times. I read everything on Axios, which is another
Will you
news
shut the
platform, which
doors
is
so the
very
dogs can't see
mainstream.
out?
But I'm just on Twitter all day, getting tips and getting information. You know how it is these days. To get the really hot stuff, the current events, you got to be on Twitter, following people that are in the
My
know.
question with that is, I feel like I'm getting to a point of, and I don't know if it's just because the overall presentation of certain things or certain events that are happening, but I'm always like, is this real? Is this the truth, or is this, you know, they're always like, oh, it's Russian propaganda, or it's propaganda from this side or that side, or I'm always like, you know, because whenever you say, oh, this is a thing, it's always like, well, that's not real. That's not true. Like, how do you know what's true? How do you discern what's true and what's not true?
Well, the thing is, when you have a lot of deep background knowledge, you can read the New York Times and sort of read between the lines of what they're really saying or what they mean, because, you know, everyone's getting the same news. Everyone's getting the same news from the Newswire, from the Associated Press, or from Reuters, or the U.S. intelligence community. If you are a discerning reader, you kind of have to know the motivations of the sources. So if they come out, like with the current war with Iran or in Gaza, if they come out and they say U.S. intelligence says this, or the Israeli government says that, if you kind of have a sense of what they want and what they're pushing, you kind of understand why they're saying what they're saying. And I guess maybe it starts from a simple assumption, which is they're going to report something and you're going to have a reaction. Now, your reaction was their intention. Whatever your response is, you have to think they wanted me to respond in this way. So, for example, you know, years ago, there was a story about Russia was paying Islamists in the Middle East to kill Americans. They were putting a bounty on the heads of American soldiers. Now, if you think at that time, what do they want me to think? They want me to be anti-Russia. They want me to think Trump is being soft on Russia. So if the average reader is reading this and not thinking too much, they're going to say, Trump is soft on Russia. He needs to be harder.
Right.
That's a way for the New York Times to pressure the Trump administration to be more tough on Russia. They're trying to incite the population to have a certain opinion.
It's a microphone, buddy.
That he has a certain foreign policy posture. And so it's not necessarily, you know, you go to a certain obscure website that has all the real information.
Right.
It's more like you just kind of need to have
Do not put it in your mouth.
a certain background knowledge to see what is the intention of the
Say,
mainstream media. To
hey.
kind of read between the lines and understand it's a regulated
Just
press.
talk into it.
Hi.
Don't eat it.
So
This
when
is
you
mommy.
do that, though, you don't
And this
think
is
you
Jess.
process
And this
when
is
in your
Daddy.
sort of assumptions of, okay, what is the real thing here?
I do. I think everybody has a bias, but you know,
What?
I just try my best to be objective. I try my best. That's why I read something like the New York Times, or I read the institutional press. I read the Israeli press, for that matter.
Yeah.
You know, for all I get heat, the big thing people
It's
say I'm
cooking up in
anti-Semitic.
here.
I read
that
the Jerusalem
ASMR
Post.
over
I
here.
read the Times of Israel every day. You know, to get every side of the equation.
Yeah. Why do you think though? What do you think the biggest reason is why people say you're anti-Semitic?
He's like, what do I do?
Well, it's just like everything else. There was a time, which I think we're now emerging out of, thankfully. You can call it wokeness, you can call it political correctness, but there was this time of immense sensitivity for maybe 10, 15, 20 years in the country, where if you say anything that is against the grain on race, on Jews, on women, on homosexuals, on transgenders,
what do you want to do?
you get called
hang
these
out with
names:
mommy?
racist, sexist, anti-Semite, Islamophobe, homophobe. And you know, I got started really at the peak of that period in 2017, at the height of that like anti-Trump hysteria. People forget even what it was like. Now it kind of goes without saying. The things you hear on Joe Rogan, the things you hear from Theo Von, Shane Gillis, you say they would have never gotten away with that 10 years ago. So I consider myself to be relatively moderate, and I know you would have to push back. I have a provocative sense of humor. I'm pretty bombastic, but I consider myself moderate.
And there's one still in your car.
One thing about you that like because I've seen a lot of stuff.
I got another one.
The Hitler comments, the when you say the N-word jokingly, and I see it and I think like not that all those things are so bad, but to the majority of people who are like looking at you from the outside, not knowing enough, they're gonna immediately sort of disavow you.
Right.
So like I was talking to Dan about this too. Like a lot of the stuff he says, he'll tweet a lot of stuff. And I'm not saying whether it's true or untrue or false or not, but it can come across to the majority who are like, this just seems like a hateful individual because they're saying this, because they're willingly saying that, or they're joking about that. And I'm not saying I'm in the right all the time. I joke about stupid all the time. Sometimes I'm like, damn, I wish I didn't say that. Is there anything that you wish you didn't say, or you didn't sort of transverse the way that you have?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things where after the show, I sort of immediately regret it. And I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have. Yeah, I went a little too hard here. And you know how it is when you're a content creator, even a comedian. I consider myself something like a comedian. I make a lot of jokes. My show is very funny. And I think any comedian will tell you especially when you're doing it,
we don't have to have
when you're doing it without a script, you don't have that time to kind of think about it.
No way.
Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you do a joke and it doesn't land. It doesn't work. It's too far.
Yeah.
It has the wrong tone, maybe.
Yeah.
And so I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I do get what you're saying. But a big part of what I do that I think a lot of people don't realize, when I got started at the age of 18, there are these like nonprofit groups like the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, Southern Poverty Law Center, SPLC, Right Wing Watch, which is under People for the American Way. There are these, and it's not to make excuses, but this is how it works. You do have these left-wing nonprofits. They're paid by the left or various billionaires, and their job, it's literally they will have interns and people on the payroll that watch my show every single night as a left-wing person or someone that disagrees with me. And they will literally clip, and I'm sure you know, even this is how it works in media in general. Anything that sounds bad, even if it's a joke, even if there's bigger context, they will take the 10-second clip and they say, oh, the white nationalist hater is at it again. He just said this, and deprived of the context of the tone, if it's a joke. Over 10 years, I do a show every night. You collect enough of those 10-second clips, you can paint a picture of somebody where it's like, this is a lunatic, this is a raving maniac. And a lot of people don't realize this is a political operation that gets paid to create these clips for the purpose of reputational destruction. And I decided from an early age, I'm not playing games. I'm not going to be guarded all the time and manage everything I say. Oh, I hope this doesn't sound bad in a 5-second clip. I said, I'm going to be myself. And I always thought eventually people will watch the show and they'll figure out who I really am. But that is a very dishonest aspect of the industry.
Yeah. I mean, that even outside of that, your specific political sphere, that happens on the internet, period. For creators, for anything, whether it's like some relationship drama or some parasocial shit where they're like, oh, this is happening. I mean, the most popular thing I think recently is like the live streamers. They'll get a clip and they'll put, and this is not specific to any single person, but they'll put like a caption over a video where it's like, it's just to create sensationalism of a situation that isn't actually that sensational.
Right.
But I guess I'm kind of curious on you is, do you, as you do your show or as you say certain things, are you aware, because I would consider you a very smart individual, are you aware of the sensationalness where you're also adding fuel to that? Because you know that that's a real thing that's going to happen regardless. Are you also willfully doing that, knowing that?
Absolutely. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
That
baiting
smells
them
good.
all the time. And actually, early on, I think I did that a lot more when I was younger than I do now. I think I'm a little more mature. I'm a little more disciplined. But when I was younger, and it was a different ecosystem, you almost had to bait them because we were, and by we, I mean the far right, conservatives, we were being censored and even shadow banned. We were being suppressed.
Yeah.
And so at that time, it's like the only way to break out, especially for me, because I wasn't getting on Fox News. I wasn't getting on. Usually that's the program. If you're a conservative, you get the interview spot on Fox, on Blaze, on Daily Wire. I was blacklisted from everything and
Need my
censored.
helper.
So it was like the only way to break containment was to be outrageous. And so I'm not going to lie, I absolutely baited it. But the overriding priority for me always is just to try and be funny, to try and be entertaining and provocative and funny. And some people look at me and say, well, you're kind of cynically and you're a provocateur. I don't think I'm a provocateur. I think that I try to be challenging and funny, and by essence, that is provocative. If you try to be funny and you're not provocative, to me, that comes across as safe and stale and boring and not fresh. The things that are fresh and exciting and outrageous, they tend to be provocative. The stuff that people say, it's a guilty pleasure. They're like, I hate that I'm laughing at this, but it's so funny. I love that stuff. So
Yeah,
that was always my goal.
I get it. It's just, I think in your sphere, like your ecosystem of political commentating, everyone going into it or watching or consuming the content or seeing you speak about, these big issues, geopolitical things, they're looking at you more so, I think, through that lens and not through the lens of a comedian. So when the comedy comes in, they're like, is this guy just hate this or hate that or hate those people, hate these people? I think that's how it can come across that, in my opinion, would then lessen your ability to reach a whole group of people that would be more apt to listen to you than they are because there's the jokes.
Right.
But at the same time, I can't tell you or any person how they should make content or how they need to show up in their content. But I think that's a large part of it, because then, like we were talking earlier, the groups that are there set out to sort of be like, hey, this is a bad guy, don't listen to him, essentially.
Right.
Disavow him. It makes their job way easier. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I would just say that, just a life philosophy.